Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another awesome edition of the Shiny Developer Series. My name is Eric Nance, and we are continuing our spotlight on the recent Shiny contest submissions from this year. There's been a lot of great things to choose from, and we're going to have a great deep dive into another one of my favorite apps right now. And so it is my pleasure to have once again an episode where we couldn't just have one guest, we got two. And so it's my pleasure to introduce to the Shiny Developers Series Douglas Mesquita and Luis Gustavo Silva. Douglas and Luis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
Hi,
you, Eric.
Eric. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes, we're happy to have you, and maybe we could do a quick introductions for yourselves and also how you discovered R and how you discovered Shiny.
I can start here. I was born in the south of Brazil, and I'm a statistician. My first contact with R was during my undergrad. I think it's super common, right? Because it's a language made from made by a statistician, so it's common to have statisticians using that. And also we learned some other softwares, of course, during our undergrad, like SPSS and SAS. But I would say that during the last 2 years of my undergrad, I was mainly using R for everything. But I became proficient in R in my master's. I was using that for many purposes, like academic purposes, also for particular projects and some other projects that we are working. And because of these projects, I started learning R a little bit deep. Luis was a professor to me, actually. He taught me a lot of things. And he had more experience by that time, and he taught me a little bit. And of course, with some practice, we learn more and more about R. And so I'm using R since my undergrad, so it's around 10 years using R now.
Great, great. Thanks, Douglas. Douglas is my shiny student, side student.
In more ways than one, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I think my journey with R is a little bit quite close as the same of Douglas. I start to use during my undergraduate in the Juiz de Fora. I live in Minas Gerais currently. It's a state in the southeast of Brazil. And there, I think was in 2008, I had my first contact with R. And I have to say that I didn't like. Why I need to learn to program this? I prefer to just click and click there and like SPSS. And I had one talk in the statistical event that one professor, it's a famous professor in Brazil, Paulo Justiniano. He's developed a lot of R packages and in a spatial area, and he gave a lot of examples using R. And from there, I start to be fascinated. Oh, it's not possible. I can do maps. I can do tables automatically. I can do reports automatically. In that time, we didn't have R Markdown. We didn't have Shine in that time.
The
So
world was
it
a lot
was,
different back then in that ecosystem. I can relate.
yeah. And even though it was like, oh, it's a new word. And then from there, I start to study a lot R. And there was another professor in this university that I could learn a lot from him. And from there, I just use R. I don't want to use another language or even statistical software, only R. And currently, I'm working as a data scientist in the FAO, which is a Agency of United Nations. And there I use R every day. In the Shiny apps, I think I develop Shiny every month for sure. Every month, not I don't want to say every week, but every month I have to touch Shiny applications and R every day. So I love this because just a quick example. In this talk, the professor gave one example that he could give a scholarship to the students because he was using open software. And in that time, he didn't have too much scholarships in Brazil because the university didn't have too much money. So in that time, it didn't have. So it was like, oh, I can have a support if the professors use this software instead of buy for new software. So it was like, oh, yeah, it's not only about the software, but it's about this new life. So I was so fascinated that time. So I love them.
Wow. Well, that's a
Yeah.
fascinating story, and I share a lot of commonalities with both of you on the origins of this. Although I wish R had been my first language, it was not. I also, in the stat programs I was in, had to use SPSS or even SAS itself, which is still a big one in my industry. But I do remember at the time learning R for the first time in a grad school course, and my professor just had us in a time series class, and he just launched it one day without any real context and said, "Here you go. Here's your homework." And I'm like, what is this? It's not exactly the most gentle on ramping, but what helped me immensely, I think you even touch on it, Luis, is that when you have real projects in the work that you're doing now, that certainly accelerated my growth of it. In my case, it was my dissertation. Like if I didn't have R, I couldn't have finished my dissertation. It had the method I needed. But today's resources for learning this are way better than what we had back in those days. Not to sound like one of those people, but it was a lot different back then. So I'm certainly, I'm as well as you. I use Shiny almost every week, basically at my job as well. And by proxy, R is a huge part of the work we do. So it's exciting to see, both of you using that very fully here. And so getting to this year, as I alluded to at the intro, I had a unique perspective with the Shiny contest this year because I was actually one of the judges. So I get to see all this great content coming my way. And then lo and behold, here comes FairSplit. And I was immediately blown away. We'll get into all the things I like shortly. But my first question to both of you is, what motivated you to create FairSplit? Kind of what was the genesis of the idea for the application?
Yeah, actually, it's a really old project. It started in 2014, actually, but not as a Shine app, of course. It may sound like a stereotype, but as Brazilians, we like to play soccer, right?
I think
Or
a lot of the
football.
world does.
Yeah, but uh, we always had a problem in that match, in that pickup game. That is, we had a list of players, like 24, 25 people, and we never knew who were going to attend to each game. And then we need to divide people in teams. And it seems easy at the first time, but it's not so easy to divide the teams because we have a lot of attributes that we need to think carefully because we don't want to have three goalkeepers in the same team, right? So we need to divide that carefully, right? And we usually lost a lot of time dividing the teams. So let's say we had 1 hour to a pickup game, and 10 minutes of that was just uh, having discussions about who is the best player, what's the best uh, configuration to have that pickup game, right? So we were losing time and money actually because we are paying for a rent, and it's not interesting, right? So the question is how to divide the teams in a fair way. So we don't want to have a team that is really good and another one that's really bad, because it's not fun, it's not exciting, right? So we want to have something competitive. So because of that, we start to think about an algorithm. Just to say, we were playing with statisticians and computer scientists. So sooner or later, an algorithm would rise on this match, right? Right. So
Inevitable when you get that kind of set of minds together.
yes. So Luis, would you like to explain the first algorithm, because
Yeah,
you did it?
yeah, no, because I was like the manager of this game, this match, and one another thing that I would add in this is the when I start to split the teams, some people start to complain like, "Oh, Luis, my team is not good. Your team is better than me." Then I and oh gosh, it's my fault. I have to put this in another I'd say another plate. It's not my plate more. So then we one day in the lab we start, okay, let's think what you need to split a team in the fair way. So we start like, okay, the team should be balanced each other, so you cannot have one very good team and another that's not, it's a bad team. And at the same time we need to have a variability with the team. So for example, we don't have just one very good player and the others is not good. So yeah, the average is okay, but inside the group is not okay, because there is only one good player there. So okay, you have to maximize the variability within the team, but we need to minimize the average between among the teams. So this was the first idea. So let's just to use a Monte Carlo to simulate the teams and to choose the best configuration, and it's okay. So let's do the first version of the application. It took a lot of time, of course, because it's only random teams to this Monte Carlo. But after a while, we could get a very good configuration, and okay, let's go with them. And after a while, in this last year, Douglas and I, oh, we have this project. Why you don't use this to create this new Shine application? One new Shine application for to share and to provide this service to everyone. And then Douglas changed a bit the algorithm, but in that time, let's say that the problem was solved because everyone was happy. Okay, it's not more Louis' fault. Maybe is the the algorithm that Louis did is not good, but if you want, you can change the algorithm. So the people, of course, didn't want to touch my script because my script was not so well organized in that time. And that was the, I think, the origin of this application. And then Douglas start to think more. Luis, you don't need to use only one score, because in that time you use, for example, Douglas. What is the score of the Douglas? Is 8, only 8. But Douglas is a good defender. Ah, better than 8. Okay, so for defender, Douglas is 9, and Luis for defense is 4. So we start to, okay, you can add attributes this instead of use only one overall score for each player. And then we could, I think, generalize the the algorithm by application, and then generalize also the, the the application, for example, not only for this pickup game, but for other kind of same problem that, okay, you can use this algorithm for split teams in another fields, for example.
Yeah, just to add something, every we really like to participating on the Shine contest. So we did it 3 times, and we had 3 Shine contests. So uh, actually, we got 2 honorable mentions on the Shine contest, and every year we start to think, okay, next year, what we are going to present to this shiny contest. And last year, I don't remember exactly what made us thinking about this algorithm, but actually this algorithm came, and then we improved a lot. And as Luis said, we are now applying for uh, several fields, because if you have a team, you can use this idea here. Also, I'm gonna show later on that you can also upload your own file to do your split your team, right?
Yeah, I can see tons of ways you can apply this. I mean, obviously, sports comes to mind first, but there are many other situations, whether it's other forms of competition, maybe a school or university is trying to assemble a team for some, mathematics or competitions like that. And frankly, in the workplace, maybe a manager is trying to assess, a different team to complete a task and they want to, look at different qualifications and find a balanced team on that. So I see lots of potential here, and I resonate a lot with how this came to be because in my day-to-day work, I'm coming up with algorithms, some new ideas to help maximize, say, a treatment effect for a study we're working on. And we may get the R code and the model behind it all ready to go, but then what if we want to put it in the hands of others that are not, proficient at R, not proficient at programming, and they want a nice way to investigate the trade-offs of it? Obviously, that's where Shiny comes in. So we all have that similar method of development. And also, kudos to you for being a three-time contest submission. That's awesome. And even as I was a judge this year, I submitted one too, just because why not? Even though I wasn't evaluated, it's that time of year. It's kind of like my Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, I got to get something in there. So looks like we're very well aligned on that one. And yeah, maybe it's a good time we could dive into the app a little bit and show everybody in the audience kind of what FairSplit's all about. So I will share your screen now.
Okay, nice. So the first thing that we see on our Shine app is that we have a different background image here. So I really like that because it doesn't seem a Shine app at the first time actually. So it's a small detail. We are gonna talk about that later. It's a small detail, but it makes difference in our app. So here it's just a reference of splitting. So we have some pizza here, and everyone has a share of this, a piece of this pizza here.
Yeah, needless to say, I got a little hungry when looking at the app the first time because I am a pizza fanatic. So that was awesome already.
So here we have some examples and also something that may help you to understand the app and the functions that we are using. So let's going to select the examples here, and we have some examples. So the first one is the example we were talking about right now. That is the pickup game that we're talking about. And actually, this is it's a real data set. So what's the point here? So you have some people, a list of 21 people here, I think. And you have some attributes that you can see in this table here. So, for example, we have pace, shooting, dribbling, passing, defending, and we'll have, if you want, we have a description here. You can change that. And also we have some weights here. And what's the meaning of this weight? Because as I told you before, it seems easy to select a team, but it's not. Because sometimes some characteristics are not that important. Let's say goalkeeping here is not that important because if you have two goalkeepers, we can just leave the goalkeepers to each team, and this is not an important characteristics. I mean, Luis is good defending, so it's not important to him to be good to have a good attribute here in this goalkeeping column, right? So you can change the weight. So let's say I want to make goalkeeping here 0. I don't want to consider this attribute, or let's say I want 20% here or something like that. Let's take 0 here. Let's use 0 here. Another thing that's nice here, not in this example, but I will show later, is that in this case we have some scores between 0 and 10. So I need to know what's the maximum here. Then I can scale the attributes, and it's going to be fair to the algorithm. That I'm not going to look just for one attribute because it has a maximum greater than the others, So I can scale the attributes here. In this case, everything is the same, 0 to 10. And then here we can select the structure that we are aiming here. So for example, here I want 4 teams and I want 5 guys inside each team. Here we have the number of iterations. It's nice to say that it's a really simple algorithm. I mean, we did it really quickly. So we are not trying to find the best solution of the world. We want to find a solution that is good enough for our case. So if you use like 100 iterations, you are going to find a solution, but it's not good enough. So we can increase this number here. And of course, if you increase the number, you are going to increase the computational time here. So you have this trade-off here, and you can control that in our algorithm.
Yeah, I live with this trade-off every day at work because we do simulation to look at, say, treatment effects and everything like that. And depending on the model inside, maybe the model is a very simple compiled model, and that way it's very easy. You could do a whole bunch of iterations on it. Others are doing a lot of Bayesian things like that, and then it just takes a long time for convergence and all that. So it's always this trade-off, but the idea is that you didn't lock the user into one specific value. You let them change it up, which is getting great flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, you can change all these numbers here, and you can think about your example, your case, and then you can click on the run button here, and you can wait a little bit because sometimes it's going to take a long time, especially if you have a huge data set and if you have a huge number of teams, for example. So it's going to take more time. And the first thing that you can see here is that we have these box plots here, and you can compare these box plots. Here we can see that we have the 4 teams that we are looking for, and also we have another group that's called alt, which means that some of the players are not in the team 1 and 2, 3, or 4. They are out for now. So we can remove that. It's not important for us, or you can leave there if you want. And it's going to become better if you have a huge number of individuals in each team. So the box plot is going to be a better visualization in this case. But for this specific case here, it's in my opinion, it's better to look to this plot here. That is much more informative in my opinion. In this plot, we have the attributes here. So goalkeeping, passing, physical, until dribbling. And also we have the teams here. So we can see that this strange thing here is the out team. And you can see that for almost every attribute here, the teams are similar in average, except in the goalkeeping, because we have selected 0 for the weight of this attribute here. So the algorithm is just ignoring this attribute, right?
Right.
So I think this is really nice, and I'm gonna show you later that if you have a bigger data set, it's going to be even better to visualize this result here.
Well, I like the fact that you have the two side by side. You let the user kind of pick which of the box plots or this chart they're most comfortable with viewing, and I can see advantages to each of them. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if this is because I'm a statistician, but sometimes when I just see the point estimate, it's something strange to me. I like to observe the entire distribution. So they are here side by side, as I said.
Yeah, that's literally one of the biggest things I have to deal with. It's not just one specific estimate of a number; it's the distribution around it. But and also loving the interactive touches; those are really great for the user experience.
Yes. So yes, as you told, everything is interactive here, right? So you can observe, for example, for team 4, you can see the average for each attributes here. So let's go to the table here. This is my preferred one because we have a lot of information here. So let's remember our problem. We need to split teams. I would like to know uh, the composition of each team. So this table is going to give you that information. So you have the teams on the roles. You have the out here. That's the guy that's is outside the teams. You have the average in each column here for each attribute. We have the overall. That's a general average, and you can observe inside each team the configuration. So by luck, I'm here in the second row here. So we can observe that this average here is composed by this the average of the base attributes of these 5 guys here. So it's super easy to understand the summary information here because one thing is that okay, the Luis can provide the teams. Okay, these 5 guys are team A, these 5 guys are team B. They are going to ask why. So here you can kind of understand the reason, right?
Yeah,
So
it's giving more context to the calculations here, but you don't overwhelm them with it right away. They can opt into looking at that if they want. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And from this table, Eric, you can see who was in charge to score the players. As you can see, Douglas is the best one in this team.
I don't think that's an accident, right?
Ah, I don't know. I'm kidding.
I tried to follow some logic to choose this attribute, and actually I asked Luis and some other guys about the scores, and they agreed with me. So
Yeah.
Well, if you say so, I'll believe you now.
yeah, now I'm in a bad situation. Okay, so fine. So, but this is this is my preferred one because in one table we have a lot of different information here, and at the first time I was thinking about this table here, and I asked Luis, "Is it possible? How easy is to add a photography on the table?" I didn't know by that time. So I started looking on the internet, and then I found that okay, it's super easy to add a photo there, and it's really nice that we have we are plenty of tools to use in our Shine apps. We just need to know how to search on Google, and then you can find the result, and you can use the information that you find.
Yep, I always liken it to the fact that as I'm constructing these, whether small scale or large scale apps, I'm picking from all these ingredients and making an overall recipe, kind of baking it in, but I'm mixing and matching as I see fit. So already I've picked out from the charts above, that's definitely some Plotly and e-charts for our action, and this is reactable. I'm one of my favorites ever for a table presentation. So yeah, you're right. It's all there for the taking. You just have to figure out the best way to use it.
Yeah, that's it. So you can always find something that is similar to the thing that you are trying to create, and then you can think about how to change, what you can change to make it better, right? So this one is I love this table here. Uh, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Douglas, can you just show the stars at the end of the?
Oh yeah,
I think you didn't to show.
yes. Thank you. Oops.
Was not my.
Oh, nice touch.
No.
Yes. Go ahead, Luis, please.
No. Because I remember that Douglas struggled a lot to create this specific part of the table, these stars for each player. So it was nice. I don't know. I just want to say that everything was made in R, and all of these specific, nice and beautiful, let's say, um, layout and the colors, everything we did by using R and the Shiny R package. So let's say we did to know a lot CSS, HTML, and we could do this by sorry, React table package. So I just want to say that I'm not, and Douglas as well is not. We are not designer or UX. It's only, I just want to make sure that the people can understand that, because sometimes you can see, but they know how to do this by use CSS and the HTML. No, guys. It's everything. It's almost red, as Eric said before. The ingredient is there. We have just to know how to combine and how to make this recipe to work together. And I think it's nice to show that this specific part.
Yeah, and when you look at things like this, if you're not in tune to what Shiny and by proxy R is capable of on this side of the presentation, you might think that you're looking at a professional web developed application that took maybe years to make. No, this is not true at all. You all had the idea already. It was just a matter of blending the packages together. But yeah, this is why I think some people might think Shiny is only for more advanced developers. I don't think so. I don't think you have to have that huge web background to get started like this. You can go really far with just getting exclusively with R. Now, maybe there is a point later on where you have more custom needs, and that's where now we have resources for the level up with the JavaScript and CSS tricks. But you don't have to do that to get a product like this. So obviously, this is kind of the season of giving thanks a lot, and I think of this year, and I want to obviously thank the teams behind Shiny, of course, but also widgets like Reactable and Plotly and everything like that, because they make this presentation, this blending of the different results, so much easier for us to get up and running with. So I think it's very important that our audience realizes that you can pull off a look like this with the off-the-shelf packages with a little configuration.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I think that the visual of the Shine app is clean, and we didn't change that much from the Shine material layout. So we are using a package that gives us a nice visual, nice design, and it's almost done. As you were saying, we just need to find the ingredients to put here, and of course, sometimes we need to think about some details, as the case of the stars here. That's something that I don't know. If I imagine 10 years ago, I would never think about the stars. I would say, okay, the table is good enough. The information is there.
Yeah. Just give me numbers and be done with it. But no, why not? You can do the bars and the stars. Throw it in there.
Exactly. So some small details that make difference on the design, And again, everything here you can find on the internet and can make you can make it a little bit different for the as the case of the stars, for example. And it's really nice. I really enjoyed to create this table here, and I really like it.
Yeah,
So,
well done. I'm like I said, I love making tables with Reactable now, and my little fun toy app I did for the contest this year, I did a very similar thing. I did nesting of the row contents if they wanted to drill down more. And I remember I did have a little trickery to get like flags of the racers' countries in it, but it's very similar to the work you're doing. But it just shows you the limitless possibilities of really customizing the styling of this pretty easily. So yeah, love that table. It's good job there.
Probably we have used your table as inspiration here.
Well, hey, I love to pay it forward. That's awesome.
Okay, let's move to another part of the application here. So the first part is just about the teams. Now we are going to talk about the individuals that the people that are playing with us, right? So here we have some other plots here. The first one is just to compare some players, so we can observe the distance between these players. So when I say distance, I want to say that we are going to compare all the attributes of these players, and we are going to see which one are similar or not. For example, here, let's see. In my case, I'm here on the first place, and
Yeah, Douglas, let me, if I can add just one thing. I think what is nice in this example, it's if you see the first one, it's Paulo, the first row in the matrix. Paulo is a goalkeeper. Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper, and as you can see, he's the most different player in the team. So it makes sense because you don't want a goalkeeper like a very good, I don't know, um,
striker, for example.
or similar with another player. So the goalkeeper is a specific player with some specific attributes. So he doesn't seem like other player. So I think this example it's illustrate this in good way.
Yeah, that's completely true. We have another goalkeeper here. Let's see what happens if we add.
Okay, so you do see, still some differences.
Yeah, because Bruno is really good.
There you go.
All is good, but Bruno is really good.
Yeah,
That's the point here. So it's nice. You can compare. You have this nice plot here. Also, you can observe. This one is the general information, right? So it's a summary, let's say. Here you can select the attributes that you want to see. For example, pace and shooting, but you can also select dribbling and shooting, for example. And you can observe, for example, I'm here. I cannot talk about me, right?
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Okay, I will add Luis here as well.
Oh, come on.
Okay, give Louis some love
Luis
here.
here.
As you can see,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so you can observe the scatter plot here. But again, I really love this plot here because you can compare the attributes among the players. So let's select, for example, Bruno and Luis. So they are quite different because Bruno is a goalkeeper and Luis is not. So we can observe that the area here is completely different, right? And let's add Paulo. Now it's clear what we said. Bruno is really good. And Paulo is good. So it's nice that you can observe a lot of information here. I like this plot as well.
Yeah, and like I said, just the presentation and have each of them side by side, so you can quickly move your eye between the overall distance heat map to then getting more drilled down into what is driving those distances. Yeah, this is really nice.
Exactly. And the last part, I'm gonna just talk about this first plot here, and I would like to show some more examples because I think it's more interesting for the audience. And this is the more nerd part because we have some information about the algorithm. So we have selected 1,000 iterations, so you can observe the objective function here, and our objective here is to minimize the distance between the average to the global average. So we have a lot of attributes, and we want to ensure that these teams, they have similar attributes in average, right? So basically, that's our objective function, and this is another interesting thing about our app. It's super simple. So it's not a complex objective function, but it solves the problem, right? So it's really nice. So we can observe that after 500 iterations, the method basically converged, and that's okay. So let me move to another example because this one is a real one. It's nice because you can talk about people that we know, but this is only applied for me and Luis. You don't know this guy. So let's select a different example here about FIFA, for example. Here we have some real players, and we have the scouts for some attributes from the FIFA's game. So again, we have pace, shooting, passing, dribbling, defending, and physics. We can select the number of teams. I would just select 5 teams, and the team size is 6. Why it's not 11? Because we have different positions and they have different attributes. And just to make it easy, we have selected only strikers to this example, right? And I'm going to select 1,000 iteration here.
But that's again to the flexibility of, what's the key question you want to answer, and you can always increase that or decrease that as you see fit.
Yeah, you can, again, you can change the arguments, and then you can wait a little bit more, or if you want something more precise, you can increase the number of iterations and so on. So here we have, I don't remember the six players in each team, and we have 5 teams, right? So again, if you look to this plot here, it's nice again because they are really similar. So which means that the algorithm did their job. And here again we have a summary, and now we have some people that we may know if you like soccer, of course. So let's see someone that's really, really famous here.
The first one, Di Maria, no?
Where is he?
The second.
Here. Okay. Di Maria is a really famous player. I was trying to find a Brazilian.
Okay.
There is Fernandinho here, but it's okay. Gabriel Jesus, it's fine. Vini Jr., and so on. So it's nice because now it's subjective because someone gave these scores to the players, but it was not me. So now there's you were kidding with me like, oh, you choose your scout. So in this case, I didn't choose anything. So you can see some teams that are competitive in the sense of these attributes that we choose. Another thing that just one thing, Liz. Another thing that I want to say is that we can only use continuous scores, use attributes here. We are not using categorical ones. We can change the objective function to also include this categorical attributes, but by this time we don't have this option. So that's the reason you only see continuous attributes. Go ahead, Luis. Sorry.
No. I would change a bit the topic to say about the design that I like this design, like how can I say this in English? Funnel. Like we come from the more general results and go down this drill down approach. So the first, if you go up a bit, the first screen, it's the overall
Right.
results.
Right.
So it's good because you're anxious to the result can be solved in this first part. Okay, yeah, the algorithm worked well. So it seems at least that the algorithm worked well. Let me see now the teams, and then the user can go down and see the teams. Okay, but let me compare with the team. How is the distribution inside of each team? So it can go down a little bit more because in this visualization you can see, but it's a table. Then sometimes when you have to analyze many numbers, it can be hard. And when you go down, you can compare each individual players. So I like this this kind of analysis approach to go from the more general to more narrow analysis.
Right. And this is an approach I take all the time because sometimes my leadership or whoever, like the big customer in my app is, they just want to know the bottom line, so to speak, and with a little context, of course. But then if we want more context for the other statisticians or the other, leaders that are definitely thinking even more quantitatively, we say, okay, now you go here, and then you can drill down to see the individual components that drove that score of like why this treatment's the best or why this design's the best. So yeah, we live this. I live this world every day. So it's a balancing act to not present enough information, and then they may ask you afterwards, well, this app told me this score, but why did it happen that way? Versus, oh, you gave me so many numbers, what am I supposed to look at? So it is, it's something that I've had to learn probably the hard way, is like, how do you, and this is even whether shiny or not, just like effective presentation of results and making sure that you give what you need kind of that first glance, but then to add context to it, augmenting with the tools we have here is critically important. And so, yeah, obviously this app is a real good showcase of like giving the high level. And then, as you said, Luis, yeah, you can drill down from that overall funnel down to the more specific components of it. And so everything I'm seeing here is really telling that story.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if we should start to talk about some technology behind on the package that we use to
Oh,
create the
absolutely.
charts and
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah. I'm happy to dive into that.
Because I think it's the it was, I think all the shiny apps is a mix of the packages, and in this case was not different. Sometimes I try, but it's not easy to keep the same library for all the charts. So for example, in this case, we started with the Plotly, which is a very good library and a mature library that you can use without any problem. It don't it doesn't break if you change something. But for example, the spider chart we couldn't create by using Plotly. I don't remember why, but we could find one best way using the e chart for R, eChart for R, which is a very nice library that you can do a few changes. You have a beautiful chart. Sometimes we didn't think about the colors, we didn't think about the two tips. So it's like a free. If you know how to use the function, you can have this colors, the palette is very good, and the two tips it's created automatically in the nice way. So this is one this reason that we choose to use the eChart for R.
Yep, and I'll just make a quick plug that the author of Plotly, Carson Sievert, is on the RStudio team as an engineer for the Shiny team. He was on a previous episode of this dev series, and John Cohen, author of VCharts for R, has also been on the dev series before. So check out the back catalog if you want to know more about how they built these great packages.
Sure.
Nice. Thank you.
And I think this the reactable, yes, was the main, not the main, but one the feature that we we really like to use and to learn a little bit more, because we follow many bloggers, and you see the table, but I want to create a table, but in our current job, you don't have a chance to create a table like that. And then we start to look for problems to, okay, no, I need to know, as Douglas said before, how to put a photo in this table. I don't
Right.
know, but I don't have a chance to do this in my job. If I do, maybe my boss will, oh, Luis, you don't need to put this. It's not nice.
It's
It's,
too
you
much.
know, it's too bad. And of course, he's not a designer, so that's why he will say that. But I think this library was a very good package to learn, and it's a very powerful library. I think,
Absolutely.
and then the layout was in shiny material, as Douglas said, and we changed a bit to look like not a shiny app, but a more professional. I don't know if it's more professional, but at least more beautiful. I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of these is subjective qualities, but I think the key point here is that you went for something that had a unique look. Everybody's going to have their own preferences here and there, but like I mentioned maybe earlier, if you throw this just generally on the web and you give it to maybe a sports enthusiast, kind of want exploring team balance or things like that, they are not going to know this is a Shiny app unless they look at the URL. That's it. Otherwise, you would be hard pressed to know it.
Yeah, great.
And actually, another thing is that it's super easy. It's not that difficult. It's just an image on the background, So one line in a code, and you can create something like that. So
I know. It's who would have thought
it's
that in the early
incredible.
days, right? I mean, but now, yeah, with the advancements in Shiny itself, but with the extensions that you are using here, yeah, it's easy to give your app that personality, and that was honestly my, sometimes I say this facetiously, but I do mean it here. Sometimes first impressions are important, especially if you bring this to leadership and it's going to be something that needs to be scaled up, and you want the buy-in from leadership to say, oh, we want to continue making this better. You've got to, I hate to say wow them, but you got to make sure they're engaged with it. And sometimes these details do add up. And when I first started Shiny, I just threw the old standard way. I didn't care. But now I have an app that I revised over the past couple of years. And when you look at it, it is totally not looking like a Shiny app anymore. It's looking like a professional dashboard that has so many interactive components. But the first version of that app was just this basic, sidebar, nav bar at the top. And when I look back on it, I'm like, oh gosh, did I really create that thing? But I had to learn the hard way. But this, yeah, you had the extensions at your disposal to make it unique off the bat. And obviously, as a judge, this first impression definitely wowed me for sure. So.
Yeah, great.
I would say that even the when you just use Shine without any CSS or HTML, if you have like a normal Shine app, uh, it, sometimes depending on the situation, it's already enough. Sometimes you need to show a result. You don't have much time. There is a lot of
Sure.
plots and tables, and you can wrap up with a Shine app in, I don't know, 5 minutes, and you have a Shine app that's running, and people can select the variable and things like that.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, I like to create Shine apps that looks more professional, but sometimes even the normal Shine is good enough for some situations. So
Certainly.
it's
Yeah.
a complete tool, and I really love Shine actually.
And sometimes the app may be for yourself in a sense. Maybe you're trying to automate something and you don't care how it looks. You just need something that you can go to quickly instead of like relaunching R every time you're running some script manually. It just may be something you just want to deploy quickly, and you yourself are the customer for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would like to show just another example, because there's a feature that we still didn't show. That is sometimes you have some attributes that are not in the same scale as the example of the Pokemon here.
Right.
So, for example, in this data set, the height is between 0 and 150. And let's see another one here. Attack, for example, is a number under 200. So they are different. The weight here is going to be much more important in the objective function than the others. So we need to scale this data here to create some useful results, right? So here we have different maximums. And again, the same thing, you can select the number of teams, the team size. I'm going to select just 2 here. And here you can have a huge team size, for example, 20. And again, 1,000 iterations. Let's wait a little bit.
And one nice touch that I even mentioned in our episode prep here is that it's a good UX experience to tell the user something's happening so they don't get mad when they just see a blank screen, like for like a plot container or things like that. That's another lesson I learned the hard way. So it's great that you built that in.
Something broke. What happened? Where's
Yep.
my results? Or something like that.
Exactly.
So now we can see the box plots. We can see nothing actually, right? So because the weight here is in a different scale, so we can
Right.
click here, and now we can have everything between 0 and 1, and you can compare the box plots. Again, now because you have a huge team size, you have a huge, it's not huge, but you have 20 individuals in each team. So we can see that now the box plots are more looking like a box plot,
Right.
and they are comparable and they are similar, right? This plot here now is also scaled. So 1 would be the biggest value here, and again we can observe that for the two teams we have similar attributes, right? So I would like to show that it's also possible, because we don't need to have attributes that are on a specific scale. We can have wherever. It depends on the example, right? So in this case, we have different scales, and still can use this app here. And again, you can have the table, and if you like Pokemons, you can see their images here and their informations also.
Yeah, you even got their little thumbnails in there too. That's awesome.
And another thing, we have two other examples here. I'm not gonna through them, but one of them is Eric was talking about that before, that sometimes we have in our company, we have to select teams, and maybe you can split the teams based on the experience or knowledge on some tools. I'm not going to run, but just to give an example here, we have a data set about characteristics of data scientists, for example. So you can be good at feature engineering, probability, GLM, survival analysis, and so on. So I would like to create teams that, in average, they know a little bit about everything. So they are not competitive, but they are similar, right? So they can work alone or almost alone. So we can still use this this app here to this task. And here is just an example. It's completely random, but we took the RStudio package, and also we took the RStudio employees, and it's completely random. We just sorted some scores here, and let's just run to see what you get just to explain.
I definitely had fun with this when I was judging. I was like, okay, I gotta see what they did here.
So it's again running.
All that number crunching behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I'll remind our audience that if you want to play with the app yourself, we'll have obviously the link to the app and the repo, the code in the show notes below as you want to try this out and see what fun balancing acts you can come up with on your teams.
Yeah, this one is the biggest example we have, and I'm running with a lot of teams and a huge size team, so it's gonna take a little bit more time. Right, yeah,
Okay.
fine. So here we can again see the same results, but now we are using the RStudio package. So the teams are similar, and it's nice because you can see some our studio employees, and you can observe how good are they with some of the packages that they build. So it's just a joke, okay? The numbers are completely random. You can see here's the maybe you, because in the site there is in the about section you can see like the employees and also the maybe you, so it's also here. So it's just a joke here, and it's nice because it's applicable for different fields, so we can use this for everything actually. So I'm gonna just show you another thing here that's also interesting. That is, we have some examples. It's fun to, to play with them, but sometimes we have already in our lives something that we can apply. You can use this tool to whatever, something on our company or in our life, and then we also had this section here. That's the upload button here. You can there is some description here, but you can download like a template here. So you can click there, and this is the template. So we have the ID here. That is the person, the name of the person, of the individual, or whatever. We have the photo, so we can either using a URL, or you may have this photo in somewhere else. It can be leave in blank, so we are going to use a normal default image there. And then you have the attributes. So in this case, I have 3 attributes, 1, 2, 3, and some random numbers here. So I'm gonna use, just to exemplify that, I'm just gonna drag and drop the file here. I'm gonna click on upload, and then we have the same thing that we saw before. So we have the attributes, the description, the weight, the maximum value. It's an inference actually, so you can change. So we are going to look to the numbers, and we are going to guess what are the limits here. So again, you can select the number of teams, the team size, the iterations, and you can click run, and then you have your results. So you can actually use that, and that's something that I think is fantastic, using R and Shiny, that with simple steps you can create like a service to the users. So it's not difficult. We are able to create this. We don't need anyone else to create a service. So it's really nice in my opinion. So I think that this is something that I learned these years using R and Shine, that I can use Shine really I can use it to create services, to create possibilities to the users, and it makes me so happy that I can do that by myself.
Yeah, and giving you additional capabilities, you even might dare say power of composing these applications or these products to hopefully better make key algorithms or other analyses mainstream in whatever company or organization you're a part of. So certainly, I echo a lot of those sentiments.
And uh, just to finish, I would like to say that you asked me before about the things that I learned using this Shine app, right? So the first thing that I'd like to say is that again, I learned that everything is there on the internet. You can find something really similar to the thing that you want to build. So of course you have to develop. You have to have, you need to have your own idea to create something new, but you can use the community that is so strong. Our community is so helpful, and they share their works, and you can use it to create your own solution. So for me, it's fantastic. Uh, I'm really proud actually of our community because they are really helpful.
I've benefited from many of the help in the community over the years. It's one of the biggest reasons I'm doing this kind of endeavor, this dev series, and the podcast before that. Is the community is what brings me here. So well said.
Yeah, sure, sure. From my side, I think technically, I I I use this E sharp for R a little bit more and to understand better uh, the design of the package, how to use the functions, and the how no not easy, but maybe easy. How easy it is to create interface that looks nice and that looks professional. I think it was one of the main achievement for this application. And just one tip for people who wants to learn Shine is sometimes you don't need a real big project to learn Shine or any other package. We need only one reason for fun like this. We start this like just okay, Douglas, let's split our teams better. So it was not professional. My manager, my boss asked me to create a Shiny app, and I didn't know. No, no, we start in the with only silly ideas, silly reasons, not a real big reason to create or learn something. So we don't have excuse to learn anything. You can just okay, I want to create an application for I don't know organize my books, and then you can start to do or organize my receipts. I don't know. You can do, you know, and another thing that Douglas mentioned before is the I used to give some art training, and my second slide is the art community is big, 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 big. It's a huge community that everything is in the internet. If you ask, I don't know, if you send a email, a message to Hadley, he will reply you. You know, it's crazy because it seems so far, but if you tweet, Eric will reply, and the Thomas and the Hadley and everyone, the big names in the community you reply you. And I think it's really really nice to have, because if you try to use another software SPSS where you can go and ask for the developers some question, it's not easy. You can go to the help page, but it's not the same. You don't feel it's not warm like a community. You can share your issues, and I think this is the one of the main component of the Shine and the R community.
Yeah, or in my case, even for the contest this year, I built the most over-the-top random car selector for our racing league that I was a part of. That was a learning opportunity. No one not in that league asked me to do it, but we were just having fun with it, and it taught me some new packages in the Shiny ecosystem that I could use in future projects. So that certainly was not something my boss asked me to do. They could care less about what I do for virtual racing leagues. But no, I really appreciate. First of all, the app is fantastic. I've already said that a few times, but hearing the thought process around it, that's why I do things like this. It was great to hear the genesis of the algorithm and kind of what practical need you were trying to solve. And frankly, sounds like it saved you all a boatload of time and made a great learning opportunity too. As we're starting to wrap up here, I'm kind of curious. Are you going to extend the application in the future with new features or anything like that?
I think this app solved our problem. With this solution, we are able now to split the teams. So for our problem, it's good enough. But yeah, we have some different. We can change this app a lot because we have some. We can change the method and also some visualizations. As I told you before, the method is really simple, so we can improve it a lot. But I think for now it's working really fine. I would like to. It would be great to get some feedback to be in which part should we improve the app, and also it would be great to have some other people contributing to this Shine app. It would be really nice. So I invite the community actually to, if someone wants to improve the app, it would be great to get in touch to try something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have, as I mentioned earlier, we'll have a link to the app's GitHub repo in the show notes. So then anybody can just clone that, take a look at it, and then hopefully file issues if they have ideas. And it's the spirit of open source, right? If somebody finds an idea and they think they can solve it, it sounds like you all would welcome those contributions. And in fact, as I was looking at it, even just in our demo just now, I thought of some things I might be able to enhance with. So don't be surprised if FairSplit becomes a showcase in one of my live streams down the road if I start to try new things with it. So you've been warned.
Great to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with both of you today. If our audience wants to get a hold of you, maybe give some comments on the app besides the GitHub repo, what's the best way they can reach you?
Yeah, you can find me on the LinkedIn or wherever. You can have my email actually to
Yeah, we'll have links to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes as well. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, same for me. This LG Silve. You can find me in the Twitter and LinkedIn and any. I think there is only one LG Silva Silva, to double Silva. So you
Yeah.
can find me in
You
this
you got
social
lucky
media.
there. Unfortunately, there was I have a joke about my Twitter handle. This was not my first choice, but because someone took our podcast already and they've been basically squatting on it because it hasn't been active in like years. And so I was like, oh, all right, well, them's the breaks, as I say. So every other thing I have, it's our podcast, but that one's the outlier. So whatever.
Okay.
Well, Douglas and Luis, it's been a pleasure having you on. You're welcome back anytime if you want to cook up more awesome apps or you want to talk about future developments of FairSplit. You have an open invitation to come back anytime.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eric, for this invitation. It was my pleasure to be here and to share some ideas and some comments. So thank you very much. Thank you for this amazing podcast, the Rcast. It's really nice to have this kind of channel to learn a little bit more and at least to see our developers talk about specifically about their tools and the library. So thank you very much for this great job that we have been done.
Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. It was a really good talk. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you're welcome back anytime. And for those in the audience that want to hear more additional stories like this, the back catalog is always available at youtube.com/Shiny Developer Series. And ShinyDevSeries.com is going to have a post of this episode with all the links that we talk about, especially those packages we highlighted. That's always like another fun thing for me is seeing all the different ways that you all mix these ingredients of these apps and kind of what pieces you use from that. So I saw a few nuggets there that I'm going to dive into more as I learn more of some cool stuff. So that'll do it for us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And there will be more to come in this series, spotlighting Shiny contest submissions, and a lot more content on the way in the new year. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.